They're always wrong. This group, these are mostly Republicans, people who identify as conservative, and they are almost always wrong about Trump. And really, because they always have been. They always have been. Let's go through what the swamp said. Even the conservative part of the swamp has been saying about Trump. You know what their latest thing is? You can't talk about Trump anymore. It just helps the Democrats. Well, I'm not going to play that game. I think he has a great record. It should be defended, and he has a great vision for the future, and there's nothing wrong with that. When we start listening to the swamp, taking their cues, why should we? They've always been wrong. Quick review. Number one, the swamp told us he would not run for president. No way will he actually run. Once he got in the race, they said there is no way he can win the nomination. He can't beat all these professional politicians. He can't beat Jeb Bush. Do you remember this stuff? Then when he got the nomination, they tried to take it away from him, by the way. They said he could not beat Hillary. We know how that went. Now, yes, they said he could not beat ISIS. Now, I'm going to go through some of his accomplishments, but remember, the swamp, they were trying to sabotage him every step of the way, all right, with the Mueller probe and a lot of other stuff, big and small. All right, couldn't defeat ISIS? He did. They said he could not create peace with North Korea? He did. They said he could not build a wall. Granted, it's not finished, but look at that. That's a wall. What else did the swamp say? You cannot move the embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem for a lot of reasons. That was said to be very, very difficult. Trump said, I don't think so, and just did it. And it was hugely, hugely successful, very popular in Israel and here. Should have been done a long time ago. What else did he say? The swamp. The swamp said, well, he can't beat China on trade. We've been doing this for such a long time. He started to beat him on trade. How about this? You can't deregulate. Watch him. You know, the stock market's performance during those precious 4 years? Yeah, a lot of that was because of deregulation and the economy. How about this? Could not create the vaccine. We all heard that. No way can you do the vaccine. Dr. Fauci even told us no vaccine that would take 3 years. He did it in less than a year. I can go on and on like this. Let's see what's next. Could not create Middle East peace. Have you heard of the Abraham Accords? Yeah, people should have been awarded the Nobel Prize for that. Okay, what else? Could not or would not nominate conservative judges. He turned out to be the most pro-life president ever. And also this, and possibly my favorite. Oh, he's the type of guy who's going to start a war. He's going to start a war. No, he ends wars, all right? That's one hell of a record to defend. Nothing to be ashamed of. I don't care if he turns certain people on the left off or certain people in the swamp. He is what he is, and it happens to be great. Whereas Joe Biden, I want to do this again, he is decrepit, he is lost, he is strange, he is losing. We all can see that. And, you know, the swamp, they're always concerned about messaging. Ooh, the messaging is it's so important what you say. Not really, actually. It's what you do in America that really, really counts. It's your lived experience, okay? And we've been experiencing Joe Biden's in America. And for a quick reminder, okay, we've lived it, we know it, but here's a way I think it works. I call it Wag Joe Chaos Biden, all right? Wag Joe Chaos Biden. It's a little mnemonic device. We did this yesterday. Quick review if you don't mind. Are you ready? WAG stands for Woke, Afghanistan, and Gas Prices. All the reasons why Joe Biden has failed us, okay? How about Joe? Justice Department oppressing enemies? That's bad. That's the weaponization of the Justice Department. That's what they accused Trump of doing, but they actually did it. Chaos, okay. The C stands for crime out of control. Hunter out of control. A, an abysmal approval rating. O, obscenity. Obscenely forcing children into having ridiculous, weird, inappropriate conversations about gender, even gender reassignment surgery. The supply chain for S. Biden. B is for border. We have no border. I is for inflation. It's out of control. D is for disunity. So much disunity when he promised to unify us. Energy. We are now energy dependent, asking Saudi Arabia for their oil. And no one around the world respects us anymore because we have such a weak leader. This is a big problem. Now, back to the messaging. Forget about the messaging. This is our lived experience, okay? We know this. We know this in our bones. That's what America is going through. The swamp, all they can really talk about is who's up, who's down. There's no way this guy gets to... I just don't think it's going to work out for him. Do you? This is the latest disaster. He gets all dressed up, gets on Air Force One to go to Pennsylvania today to give a big speech to support the two candidates there, running for the Senate and running for governor. He gets it totally backwards in his head. He totally reverses it. He blows it. The moment of truth, he blows.
Please, please, elect the Attorney General of the Senate. Elect that big old boy to be governor.
Got it backwards. He got it backwards. The Attorney General is a man named Shapiro, okay? He is running, not for the U.S. Senate, Joe. He's running for governor, all right? You got it wrong. And that big guy, that big old boy, as you call him, John Fetterman with the hoodie, he's not running for governor. He's running for the U.S. Senate. Now, this is what we call a major league gaffe, all right? And up until Joe Biden, that's what the press in D.C., in all of their vapid glory, that's what they live for, catching politicians in a gaffe. Well, this one was ignored. Now, at this point, I would expect MSNBC to do that. They did, all right? What's her name? Nicole Wallace comes on. They have a panel of people, and nobody bothers to mention that he didn't endorse the right candidate for the right office. That's a big deal. But again, it's MSNBC. Go around the dial and I look at Fox. Fox News Channel. What the hell has become of them? Watch this. No mention whatsoever. Right after the speech, it's like it didn't happen.
Here, the president, close to wrapping up, has indeed wrapped up in Pennsylvania, addressing his push to beef up law enforcement and to say that he's really not for defunding the police, never said he was. And this effort today to hire 100,000 more cops is an indication of that and much more. We got Brian Yennis with him in Pennsylvania with more. Brian.
Hey, Neil, well, the president just wrapped up his speech here on crime, and in a flip of the script, he said that he opposes defunding the FBI, which is something that Republicans have been saying since President Trump's home was raided by the FBI in Mar-a-Lago. He also said that anybody who doesn't denounce what happened on January 6th in the Capitol is not for supporting
We just heard him say that, by the way, all right? He ignores the major mistake. Why would you do that? Why would Fox News do that? What's going on? Am I the only one? That's pretty incredible. You got to admit, all right? Anyway. Oh, and by the way, to Neil Cavuto, who is a nice guy, Joe Biden has come out for defunding the police. Yes, he has. He said it out loud. You can look it up. He said it in 2020 when defunding the police was cool. He said it. That was his position. Flip-flopper. All right. Here's the one moment of substance from the speech, okay? But it's not really substantive. Do you think this is going to change anything? This is an idea straight out of 1973.
My plan invests in crime prevention programs that help keep young people from getting in trouble in the first place. Under my plan, communities can, one, provide after-school and summer job programs they get paid for. More access to mental health and drug counseling. More social workers and housing to keep people off the streets instead of when they get out of jail to get $25 on a bus ticket and end up under the same bridge that they're under before.
Wow. Social workers? After-school programs? Part-time job? Wow, this sounds like an agenda for 1974, if I ever heard one, huh? Thanks, Joe. Then it was back to dividing America and lying.
By the way, no one expects politics to be a patty cake. It sometimes gets mean as hell. But the idea you turn on the television and see senior senators and congressmen saying, if such and such happens, there'll be blood in the street. Where the hell are we?
All right. Blood in the street. Why is he always telling ghost stories, huh? Why is he always trying to scare people? Now, what he's referring to is Lindsey Graham, and they used to be friends. Now he really hates Lindsey. And Lindsey Graham, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but you know what? Cut him some slack. He was just telling it like it is. This is not a threat. This is a worry, This is a fear, and it's well-founded.
Say this. If there's a prosecution of Donald Trump for mishandling classified information after the Clinton debacle, which you presided over and did a hell of a good job, there'll be riots in the streets.
That's not calling for violence. He's worried about it, okay? Joe, you are so committed to stirring the pot, aren't you? So committed to dividing us. And yeah, I'll say it again. We boarded up stores, businesses all over the place just prior to the November 2020 election. Now, why were those businesses taking these precautions? They were worried that if Biden lost decisively, there would be riots in the streets, okay? Did they want blood in the streets? No. They were worried about it. They were preparing for it. They didn't want it. And that's the same for Lindsey Graham. Meanwhile, Democrats, when they call for violence, it's, well, I guess because they think social justice? No, they just call for violence. They do all the time.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
There needs to be unrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives.
You got to be ready to throw a punch. You have to be ready to throw a punch.
Donald Trump, I think you need to go back and punch him in the face.
That I thought he should have punched him in the face.
Feel like punching him.
I'd like to take him behind the gym if I were in high school. If we were in high school, I'd take him behind the gym and beat the hell out of him. No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
I will go
All right. We've seen this a million times, and there's no denying it. This is part of the public record. You've seen it. I've seen it. They call for violence all the time, but when they do it, it's righteous. I don't know. We don't do it, by the way, and Lindsey Graham did not do it. Here's something else. Joe Biden is going to speak on Thursday night, a primetime address to the nation. Battle for the soul of the nation. Yeah, that's what he's... When Joe Biden talks about soul, it reminds me that I don't think he has one. When he talks like this, really be on guard. This is a dishonest man, and there is a major hole in his heart. And I have proof, quite frankly. You've heard it.
We're in the battle for the soul of this nation. Oh, that's even more true today. We are in the battle for the soul of this nation. Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this. Bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation. We remain in the battle for the soul of America.
And it goes on like this. It goes on like this, lecturing us about the soul of America when he lies in the very next statement. Or he makes a promise that he has no intention or ability to fulfill. The Charlottesville thing really bothers me. His whole campaign was based on what Donald Trump said or didn't say about Charlottesville, right? That's what he told us. This is his campaign announcement back in 2019. And he was so moved. Here he is, lying.
That's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation. He said there were, quote, some very fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides. In that moment, I knew the threat to this nation was unlike any I had ever seen in my lifetime.
If Joe thought it was such a threat, maybe he would have watched the entire press conference, okay? Look, Donald Trump didn't say that. It's one of the biggest lies ever told. The Charlottesville lie. You know about the race riot that happened and the horrible stampede and the car, and it was awful. But here's what Donald Trump said. He was explicit about who he was condemning.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay? And the press has treated them absolutely unfairly.
He's absolutely right. You can be a very fine person and totally against those Confederate flags. Totally. And you can be a very fine person and say, you know what? We have to maintain our history. Even if it's unfortunate, we can't take down statues and pretend the past didn't happen. You can be a very fine person that way. He was not talking about neo-Nazis and skinheads, all right? Anyway, this is a guy, Biden, who is out to stir the pot and not live up to his solemn, sacred promise. This is where I really worry about his soul, if it's there, and if it is there, where it's going.
Today, on this January day, my whole soul is in this, bringing America together, uniting our people, uniting our nation.
And he didn't lift a finger to do that. Wouldn't it have been great if he forgave the January 6 people? That would have been unifying, but no. He goes around demonizing them throughout his presidency, all the time. And even today, as recently as today, he's still at it, stirring the pot for political gain. Today, this happened.
Let me say this to my MAGA Republican friends in Congress. Don't tell me you support law enforcement if you won't condemn what happened on the 6th. Don't tell me. Can't do it. For God's sake, whose side are you on? Whose side are you on? Look, you're either on the side of a mob or the side of the police. You can't be pro-law enforcement and pro-insurrection. You can't be a party of law and order and call the people who attacked the police on January 6th patriots. You can't do it.
It's over a year and a half ago, and he's still talking about it in the most divisive way imaginable. Why is he doing that? Because he's not making good on his promise. He's violating it. That solemn pledge he made to you, me, and God, he's blowing it off. And oh, by the way, what about these people? What about the people who stampeded and marauded around this country in Black Lives Matter in 2020? He didn't condemn it. He harnessed it for political gain. His gain. His gain. All right, next, finally. You know, he makes that big speech today. And the political set, the swamp, you know, the Brit Humes, the Kelly Wallace, whatever her name is, they watch it and they focus on one thing. They focus on the messaging, the words, what's emphasized, what's not emphasized, right? That's all they're really equipped to do. Take a look.
This president unveiling the sharpest message we've heard from him since he was a candidate for office himself, leading the country at a time of violence around 1/6. A central message. It appears that message has been received and processed and delivered today. What do you think?
Nicole, I was really impressed with the way the speech was written to tie several issues together, to be number one, explicitly pro-police. But this entire message was about the Democrats supporting law enforcement and, as Mike said, flipping the script.
You see, all they can do is evaluate words. They're not equipped to do more than that. They don't know what's happening in America. They don't know what we know. It's kind of amazing how out of touch they are, the swamp. All right, so we've lived it. We've lived it, we know it. That's why I'm not worried about the midterms, quite frankly. They can worry about messaging and what was said 6 seconds ago, but we know where we are and how we got here and who's at fault. And if we're ever at a picnic or who knows, we have a clever little mnemonic device to recall all the issues, right? One more time, do we remember? WAG Joe Chaos Biden.